Good morning, everybody. This is Angie Hughes with Producers XL. I'm really excited to have Tim Vinoy. We don't normally do webinars on Fridays, so this is kind of a unique opportunity. We will be recording this because I want to make sure that everybody understands some changes. And I know I kind of titled this webinar that not all change is bad. This is actually really exciting. Everybody knows this about me. I get excited when we talk about the One America contract because I think it allows so many more agents and advisors to have an extended care conversation and be comfortable with what the product or the solution or the funding mechanism, if you will, for the extended care needs. So I'm really excited to have Tim come in and talk about this because there are some really good changes coming that are actually going to benefit your client and make it easier for you to position this particular solution for them. So, Tim, I want to thank you so much with One America. This Tim, he's amazing. This guy puts together, and so we're actually running a campaign right now, separate of this new product launch on the asset care. He put together some wonderful pieces and really kind of drives some consumer facing content that you can use, positioning how someone pays for their care, whether that be through a traditional contract, through a lifelong term care combo, through an annuity option. And he puts together some great content. And I think if you really take in what he's saying and how he's positioning this, right? Yes, this is going to be a product thing. We want to talk about the changes coming to the asset care that have already taken place this week, but he's got some other things that he's going to share and show with you in having that extended care conversation and what that looks like. So if you're like, Angie, I don't know if I've been seeing these emails you're sending out, let me know. I want to make sure that you have that information because truly positioning the way he does is not a conversation about, oh, we need to talk about nursing home. It's really about, let's have an extended care conversation and what does that look like, right? So insurance isn't the solution for everybody. He will be the first to tell you One America is not the solution for everybody, but everybody should have a conversation about extended care needs. So, Tim, I'm going to kick it off to you. I am going to go ahead and close off my camera because I want them to really focus in on what you have to say. So, Tim, thank you for your time. Thank you for being such a great carrier partnership and partner with us because you do a fantastic job. I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Angie, and appreciate everybody's time this morning as we kind of unpack the new, what we call the Asset Care 24 product, what that's going to look like, how does that, and some of the new features and benefits within the contract. And then we got a couple diagrams that I want to walk through so that it kind of makes this come alive. So for those that have that are familiar with One America, appreciate your business in the past. For those that maybe this is the first time, maybe you're getting into this, you're looking at this. We're going to talk a little bit about product, but Angie talked about extended care planning. And I think it all starts with a conversation. So we got some great planning guides. We have what we call a plan of care. That is a great way if you're not comfortable with the conversation, the plan of care will give you the framework for that conversation. So time permitting, I can pop that up on the screen as well. So, but the key part here and what we're excited about with this little backdrop, One America has been providing these types of hybrid products since 1988. So we've been a pioneer in this space. And this is probably our third or fourth generation in these products. So, and when we started looking at this 18 months ago, what does the landscape look like from a care delivering care, right? I think you're going to find maybe that's a theme for today is we're going to not only focus on the person needing the care, but there's a lot of new resources for those individuals that are providing the care, right? So we're going to focus on the care provider and some additional benefits there as we work through the conversation today. So just as a recap, we got a little side-by-side comparison of the old product. I say the 2019 product. That's when we launched that July of 19. And now we got our Asset Care 24. And as Angie mentioned, that became available Monday of this week. So on the 21st. And We're still a participating whole life contract, so the chassis has not changed. So we're not anticipating any dividends, but it does sit on a whole life chassis. Next piece is that we've always had this opportunity for joint coverage, right? So that has not gone away. So we do single or joint life contracts. So you have that. And of course, we still underwrite to a table 8 offer. So if you have that, maybe somebody that has a health concern, we do have a pretty good, a longer runway than some carriers out there with respect to the health issues. And I would always encourage you to do a pre-screen, get a preview of what that client's health is, do some field underwriting. It sure would help with us. It sure helps with Angie and her team there at Producers XL, so that we're managing the expectation not only of you, but also what we're showing to the client if we know that there's some health conditions. I'd like to know that as well. From a funding perspective, right? So we have 15 different ways that a person can purchase the product. In our most recent consumer study, we did one in 2022. We did another one just earlier this year, 2024. And in both of those studies, clients say that extended care planning for this is a high concern, is a big concern. We need to do something. But then we went back and asked them, if you haven't done anything today, what's the number one hurdle? Why have you not put a plan in place? Why have you not purchased a product, or what's stopping you from doing that? And just as in 2022, we see in 2024, the premium is expensive, right? So that's they're saying it costs a lot of money to buy the product. And I would also argue it costs a lot of money to have somebody provide care, right? So and I think the premium becomes the solution to the problem, right? So that's how we framework, that's the problem doesn't go away whether you buy my product or not, or buy a product or funding solution. It's just, how are you going to pay for it? So I think the premium, but we still have our single premium option. We have our single premium with the full return of premium available. We have our annuity funding option. That's the IRA, so I can use IRA dollars to do that. That's a nice option for you to consider. And then last but not least, our recurring premium option. So we have a 5-pay, 10-pay, a 20-pay, and an H95 pay. So all fully guaranteed contracts, rates are fully guaranteed. And on any of our recurring premium products, we have a full waiver of premiums. So that 20-pay and that H95 pay, I'm not too worried about that, because if mom or dad goes on claim, that entire premium on a joint policy or on a single, if we had just single life, is completely waived. So think about that from a planning. I was talking with a group of advisors yesterday, and I said, something's better than nothing, number one. And number two, we got to get to a premium that they can tolerate, right? So I'm 10 pays versus a 95 pay. I think stretching that out a little bit longer, a little bit lower in premium, maybe we can cross that hurdle with respect to getting the product in place or something like that. So that's once again, no changes. So if you're familiar with our product, you're going to see that very similar with respect to those pieces. I'm going to come back to this claims flexibility in a diagram, but we are still a reimbursement contract. So that's we're always going to have that reimbursement. However, what we have added in this example, or with our 2024, is the ability for the family. We can pay a family member a cash benefit on what we call our base policy. So that we'll come back and touch on that, give you a couple examples. So we've added a cash option. It's not cash for the whole duration of the policy. It's only for the base, which would be a 24-month base contract. That's also a little bit different. We'll get into that here in the next page. But I'll come back to this piece here, because we really want to focus on the care delivery. How are we going to deliver the solution out to your clients, and in that process. So return of premium has not changed. We have a 2-year base, and then they can purchase that continuation of benefits rider either on an additional 2 years or 4 years. So you're going to start to see this 2-year base with respect to this product, because that's probably one of the biggest changes we're going to see. We're going to come on down here. I've already talked about the multi-pay options, no changes there. Of course, waiver of premiums built in. Elimination period. We've always had a 0-day elimination period for care in one's home. So that can be for formal or informal care, as it's notated there. But we've also gone to a calendar day now for the facility. It used to be service day, so a little bit different there. So if I'm receiving my care in my home, it starts today. And maybe I'm only getting care a couple of days a week through a care agency or an informal, or my family's providing that. However I'm getting my care. Today also starts the 90-day clock for that facility care benefit or the elimination. So I can receive care at home 90 days later, or anything after that. This isn't working at home. I need to go to assisted living. We're moving right into assisted living. I do not need to satisfy a new elimination period. So that's a difference there. It's calendar days. In the old contract, it was service days. You'll see there, that's the big difference with respect to that. Inflation options, we've added a new inflation option. We've introducing a 2% inflation. We've always had the 3 and the 5 compounded. And we have also a limited duration plan, so 20-year, and then it caps out. So that's not a bad, that's if I'm looking at somebody being in their 60s and they still want to have that hedge for inflation, the 20 years priced very competitively. So it kind of caps out about age 80 when maybe the potential of a claim would come in. And then of course we have the lifetime option as well. So we've introduced a 2% option there from an inflation. Probably the biggest thing you're going to see in the plan design, and we've tried to make this simpler, right? So make it simple for everybody, is that the base contract, the life insurance component of that, is now going to be accelerated over 24 months. In the past, we used a 2%, 50 months. We've used a 3%, 33 months. And we did a 4%, 25 months, right? So it was always a little odd if you're looking at our product versus one of my peer companies in the marketplace. We do 25, they did 24. Well, we've decided to kind of maybe make it simple for everybody. It's a 24-month plan. That's what it is. That's the base contract. So you don't need to worry about, do I need to do a 4, 3, or 2? It's just basically right now, 24 months, that's what you're going to get. Now, from the continuation of benefits rider, we've tried to simplify that as well. So, oh, by the way, that 24 months on the base contract, AOB, is either for single or joint. It doesn't make any difference. So that will be a 24-month acceleration on the death benefit, whether it's a single or joint contract. And then the continuation of benefits rider. So we can buy that rider. It's an additional 2 years of coverage. So 2 + 2, we got 48 months. I can do an additional 4 years. So now we're out to 6 years of coverage shared between husband and wife, if that's the case, or single. We got to have 6 years. So now I can go out to 8 years shared between the spouses and or lifetime. We did not get rid of the lifetime. And still one of the only carriers in the marketplace that offers that lifetime unlimited option. So we've cleaned that up a lot. I think you're going to find when you look at the illustration, it's a lot cleaner with respect to the design. So we don't have to, you don't have to run 15 different iterations of that. You basically have one illustration, and then the additional premiums going back to those multi-pay or a single pay. We now have a page that lists those. So there's like a pricing grid towards the back. So you don't need to run 3 different illustrations because I want to show what a 10, 20, and a 95. You run the 20 pay, and I'm going to give you on one of the pricing grids the additional rates. The annuity product, for those that are using the IRA funding option, has not changed. It's still a 25% bonus. So if I put in $100,000, I get another $25,000 added to the account. That's guaranteed contractually. Then it will pay out over 10 years. So nothing's changed there with respect to that. Now, when we're going to get into some of the long-term care benefits, when we start looking at that, first and foremost, we've always had kind of an informal care, but now we're also looking at independent providers. So what is an independent provider versus a professional? So I'm going to use an example of when my in-laws needed care. Small rural town in Nebraska. There was a lady in town that worked at the hospital, but kind of as a side hustle. She had her own business. She was not part of an agency, but she would provide in-home care to families. So we will now, that's an independent provider. That's a reimbursable expense. They do not have to be part of an agency to receive that. So much more flexible with that. Now the informal care, let's say we'll do some care training. Informal cares, we're looking for somebody that maybe went to a community college, has taken some courses in elder care. They've got a certificate in caregiving. Maybe it's a 6-month plan, a 6-week plan, whatever, but they've done some training. That's now our informal care, as well as we'll provide coverage for family members through the cash benefits. So we've added that. We're trying to be more flexible as how we source the care with respect to what's needed for that family to keep somebody in their home, right? That's the whole goal. If I can keep mom and dad at home. And that gets down here to this expanded support. We're now adding, we will reimburse for the automated medication dispenser. I don't know if anybody on the call today has had this experience. I know I've been dealing with it with my parents in their mid and late 80s. And my mom has a hard time remembering, did she take her medication in the morning? Did she take it in the evening? Her high blood pressure medication. And if she's not taking it like she's supposed to, things kind of get crazy. So now we have these medication dispensing machines that will basically open up the door and then it will close again. So if you're familiar with those types we'll pay for that type of application or a device. We will also what we call is a human lift for somebody in their home. It could be a track system or it could be basically the Hoyer lift, but we will also reimburse for that type of an expense to help somebody get from maybe a chair to a wheelchair, from a bed to a chair, possibly getting somebody into a walk-in shower, stuff like that. So we're thinking ahead a little bit as far as where care is going to be provided and trying to keep that person in their own home if possible with some of these additional features. Of course, as you can see there, we're also, we do provide some of the home care, home modification, grab bars, taking out a shower, or taking out a tub and putting in a shower. Maybe it's a ramp. So we will continue to do that, but these are additional pieces that human lift and this medication dispensing piece. So that's really nice to have with respect to once again, just how do we provide these services into one's home? The last piece here is this caregiver consultant. I'm going to say maybe it's a caregiver coach. But this is if we're getting informal care in my home, and maybe that family member is providing that care, and they've gone through some of the caregiver training, but they're starting to see different things develop with the condition with mom or dad, and they need a lifeline. They need somebody to call and talk with. Well, we now have this caregiver consultant or caregiver coach that is free to the family to call in and say, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm experiencing, these are the stresses I'm having if I need that. So once again, we're focusing on those pieces to keep mom and dad in their home, and with the new cash benefit, it will pay out for a family member. You don't need to keep a receipt for that, and you can elect cash or reimbursement. You just don't collect on both, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So those are really a couple of the pieces that the new product. We did have some pricing enhancements. Some of the prices have gone down a little bit. We've repriced our inflation options as well. So if you have a case that you wrote or ran, or not wrote, but if you ran a case a couple months ago and come back. Let's take a look at it again. Let's rerun it with the new product with these new enhancements. I think that hopefully the price you'll see has dropped a little bit. I've seen that in a couple cases where we've rerun. If you have a case right now in underwriting for whatever reason, if you have that in, if they want to switch to this product, we'll allow you to switch to this product if that's what the client wants to do as well. So there are some transition rules. Work with Angie, work with their team there at Producers Excel to have that happen. So with that, I'm going to jump over here real quick. I got a slide here I'm going to pop up on your screen, and hopefully that is, there we go. It's called the continuum of care. Because I think if we start thinking about if and when somebody needs care, the severity of the need starts at the top, that low need. Maybe it's just a couple of days a week. It's something where maybe the family wants to help with that, and maybe it starts in one's home. So the very top left part of your of the quadrant is low need. Maybe they need to be supervised. Maybe they wander a little bit with their dementia. Care can be provided in home, right? So that's day one when somebody's needing that care. As we know, as the severity of need progresses, as it goes from low to high, possibly as we start moving out the timeline, we move over to assisted living. Maybe assisted living is a better place because that provides a little bit more 24/7 care. Somebody's checking on them on a daily basis. They're in an environment that provides these types of services. Maybe it's down to a nursing home, right? As the severity gets, I say worse, more need for care, nursing home, and then ultimately at the bottom right part of this is high severity. Maybe that's memory care, right? So that's the continuum of care from when somebody needs care, from day one to death. What does it look like? And so when we think about that home care, most people would like to keep somebody at home. So if we can do that and we can put together, I call it the family and friends package, right? So I think that's always the greatest, everybody has the greatest intention. I'll take care of mom and dad. But the question I always ask from that informal caregiver or from that family member, if they want the cash benefit, the question becomes, how long can you do it? And is it a have to or is it a want to? Okay, there's a big difference there because if mom doesn't have any plans in place and there's not really anybody around to take care of her, it's a have to. Versus, we got other things in place and now I want to help. I want to provide that care. And the question becomes, can they do it 24/7, 365? So we're going to allow the family, if they want to test drive that, I say test drive it because some people will say that's too much. I can't do it after 3 months or maybe after a year. But we'll provide the family and friends, and that's cash benefits. That's 75%, as you'll see down below there. It's 75% of whatever the monthly benefit is. So if it's $4,000 a month for reimbursement, it would be $3,000 a month in cash. Okay, because that would be 75% of that figure. Now, you don't lose that extra $1,000. It just stays in the bucket, that AOB, that base, that life insurance. It stays in the bucket. So we'll pay out cash benefits for 32 months. Then it will be exhausted. That's close to 3 years. I think that is, if the family still wants to provide care, we're going to have to go back to that informal or formal, the licensed care provider, that independent provider coming in to provide some services. But we'll give the family an opportunity for 32 months to see how that works, to keep dad or mom in their home and providing that care by a family member or a friend. So that's the cash piece. I also think that as the condition progresses, the house may not be safe anymore. Maybe it needs to be assisted living. Maybe it needs to be more of an environment of some type of a facility. And of course, when we jump over to that side, that green line, right? So we jump to the other side, informal or formal care, in a facility or receiving that in one's home, right, by a professional agency or that independent agency, that the person that's doing kind of as a side hustle. We will reimburse that at 100%. The good news with this is that the family can decide month over month which way they want to go. So at the time of claim, they may say, let's try family and friends. And maybe they do that for 3 months. So we're paying out that 75% cash benefit. And they say, you know what, we need a month off. We're going to hire somebody to come in and provide that care because we're going to do a family vacation. We got a lot of stuff going on, whatever it is. Okay, now we switch to reimbursement. Then we can switch back to that cash benefit so they can, on a month-by-month basis, they can move back and forth between the cash or reimbursement. So I think that's nice flexibility. But once we've exhausted all of that base benefit for 32 months, then we would jump over to that reimbursement, the kind of the gold, the gold part there, the formal care and reimbursement at 100%. So I'm going to stop right there real quick, Angie, kind of a high level. I know I've been talking for about 20 minutes with these couple pictures here, and see if there's any questions to your group, or if you have some questions with respect to the this new cash benefit on our reimbursement chassis or any other parts that we've talked about.
Tim, this is just, I mean, you know me. I mean, yeah, let's have a conversation about this. I love everything about this because I think we have to remember, I mean, this whole care of continuum. So I think about people that are in care now, right? So we're watching our grandparents, we're watching our parents. My mother-in-law just asked me the other day, hey, what about hearing aids? And she's had some care continuum, and that whole friends and family cash benefit, we did the exact same thing. We hired an RN. She's educated by trade as an RN, but does not work for she has her own little business. She picks up her own clients and she provides them a level of care. We hired her to come in to make sure that mom was up, showered, morning meds. She came back in the afternoon to make sure that she had eaten lunch, taken her afternoon meds, and then the family took over in the evening. If we can just get, I mean, take insurance out of the equation, right? It's a plan of care. It is, what is your plan if you need extended care? Because and I love when you mentioned the house. So if we think about our grandparents and our parents and the homes that they bought and the homes that are paid for, how many people had the wherewithal to say, I'm going to buy this house because if and when I get into the aging process, I'll still be able to live here under my own guidance. My in-laws did that very thing. They had this amazing home, you know, upstairs level, downstairs level, main floor level, all of that good stuff. But the laundry wasn't where it needed to be. And my father-in-law had the wherewithal to say, you know what, this can't be our final resting. This can't be our final house, because I know as we age, and he knew they both had some health conditions that weren't necessary. Diabetes, right? Typically is a progressive situation. He had the wherewithal to say, we need to go to a place where all care could be provided there. And so everything is main level. And it's really just having a conversation, and the changes that you guys have made are absolutely amazing in what I feel like is closing those objections. I don't think there's a single person, and don't let me forget, I want to talk about your survey that you guys did, but there's not a single person that can honestly, truly give you a real answer to say, yeah, I'm sure at some point in time I'm going to need some care. I just had back surgery 3.5 weeks ago. I can tell you that being young or youngish, I suppose, but going in and having surgery and coming out and recovering for that, there was probably 3 or 4 days in there where I was like, ugh, wow. I mean, don't bend over, don't twist. I mean, that when you kind of start limiting your mobility, knowing that, you know, in time, right, I would recover from this. What if you start having these things later in life? Now go ahead and put yourself in your mid 60s, put yourself in your 70s. everybody wants that long life. I mean, I just got a text message that a previous sheriff in our hometown passed away at 93. Great long life, but how was that care rendered along the way? We all want that. We plan for our retirement to get to a long life and not outlive our money. But what happens as we go through this severity of need, right? Whether we move through friends and family, we get into informal care, or we need that memory care. I love everything about this because it's really being able for you to close those objections if people would just have an honest conversation about a plan of care. And you guys actually did a survey, and I loved it because it came out with about 4 or 5 main bullet points from that. And one of them was younger people, and I just read on Insurance Newsnet, younger people in their 40s are wanting to have conversations about plans of care, extended care planning, whatever we want to call it, because they see it. They see it happening. Yes, they're still raising their kids. Yes, they have a mortgage. Yes, they're paying off whatever they're doing, but they'll have that conversation because they see it happening to their parents taking care of their grandparents, or they see their parents aging, and it's a reality. So this is a wonderful solution to just have a conversation. And Tim, I think the enhancements that you got, I mean, how many times do you get to hear not only are these enhancements amazing for the consumer, but the price might have even gone down? I mean, I would love to keep Kayla and myself busy re-quoting everything, because we now need to go back out and talk about all these great things about, hey, what about your need of care? What about this whole plan? Let's have this conversation. So I think it's great. For those of you that are on the call, if you want to throw something in the chat, if you want to throw something in the Q&A, please do so. I don't have anything, Tim, right now. I don't know how much longer you necessarily wanted to, if there's other things that you wanted to cover. I think you did a great job highlighting the changes, but this is the kind of stuff, this care, continuum of care is the kind of stuff that I was telling you about earlier that Tim comes up with. He's got, Tim, there's some other things that are going out on our annuity campaign. I'm forgetting what they are, but we've attached them in each one. And one of them is the funding source and how much it costs. And, you know, how do you bring up that conversation and move through this worksheet for those clients? All of these are wonderful things just to have a conversation about extended care planning, which we obviously need to do a lot more of.
Yeah, Angie, with that, I got 2 additional pieces and then we'll kind of just wrap up a little bit. But
Fantastic.
I did want to throw, sometimes I've seen, and I'm going to pop this, hopefully this new slide, it's called Which Inflation Option Works Best?
Yep. Looks good.
And let's go to the current slide. Let's make it. So here's a case that we were working on a couple days ago with our new product. This is a couple, male 66, female 63. And this was a 20 pay, as you can see there, we used the same premium. The first time the advisor got this quote from the marketer and we were talking about it, he had some questions because he's going to go make this presentation to the client. And I was looking at this and I said, you know, this is a lifetime benefit, but you also have lifetime inflation. So that's a, you know, lifetime 3% compound for the rest of your life with a lifetime benefit. I call that kind of the Cadillac, right? That's a great plan. So we started at $2,500 a month. In 20 years, it's grown to 42, and in 25 years, you're at 5,000. Now, keep in mind that the guys and gals are in their 60s, right? So we're talking late 80s, early 90s, 25 years down the road, what kind of the benefit they would have. And I mentioned on the call, I said, what happens if I looked at the 20-year? I mentioned that in the product design, right? So from a product design, what if I look at the 20-year cap? And so as you can see there, same premium, a little bit more in death benefit, right? Because we're at 66. Day one, we start at 27, not 25. In the 20th year, I'm at 5,000. The lifetime is at 42, so I already got an extra $800. And as you can see there, it takes 25 years before the 3% for life surpasses. So the crossover point is 25 years down the road. So a little bit more death benefit, a little bit, you know, what happens if they go on claiming year 10? They're ahead with the 20-year plan. In 20 years, they're ahead by $800 a month. So, and this was a shared plan between husband and wife, so they each get those benefits. And then just as a side note, I said, what if we don't buy any inflation? What take the same premium? What does it buy? No inflation. Of course, higher death benefit again. And day one out of the gate, $4,300 each. And of course, there's no growth because there's no inflation. But the good news is when we start doing these types of options with our clients and you see them side by side, I always say, let the client decide. Don't worry about, leave your bias at the door, so to speak. Let the client kind of look at, or they may say, looking at this, it looks like this is the better value, whatever that is. Maybe they are looking more for death benefit. Maybe they want, 25 years is too far down the road. Maybe they're thinking I might need care in 20 years. Well, which one's the better option? So I just share that with you. And then the last piece, Angie, we want to talk about with the new product is what states are it, where is it available today, right? So when we launched this product, we filed it with the compact states. So if you're not familiar with the compact, it's all those blue states. So if the compact accepts it, all the blue states get it at the same time. So everything in blue is basically approved on Monday of this week. So we got that ready to go. California is its own beast. So California, we got some enhancements out there, but this product, the 24 product, is not going to be available probably anytime soon. They just approved the 19 product, so that's kind of gives you an idea of where California sits. New York is grayed out, kind of on the other side of the United States, and we do no business in the state of New York. So when you start looking at that, you got the Dakotas and Arizona, Florida, Carolina, South Carolina, Indiana, New Jersey, Connecticut. Those are a couple states, and they've all been filed with those states. They're just not part of the compact, and so we're working with each one of those states to satisfy what they're looking for and answering their questions. And those states will come online as we get their approval as well. So if you're using our quoting system today and you're going to quote something in Kansas, it has the new rates.
Mm-hmm.
If for whatever reason you had an old illustration and you want to stay with that old illustration, the 19 product, you can do that. We're probably going to be able to take those apps up until maybe the beginning of November. So if you're sitting on anything out there, get back with Angie, get back with the team there, get that requoted, and maybe put a little sense of urgency on that client. If you want this old product, if you want the 19 product for the design or whatever it was that you were looking for, let's get it in now. And then if they want to switch to the new product, they can as well. But I think we got a little window still for both options are available for us. So Angie, I'm going to leave it at that. We're at the bottom of the hour. I appreciate the time today, kind of highlighting this, our new solutions, and we're excited about this, especially if you think about focusing on the care provider, right? That's the a lot of stuff we really wanted to work on is how do we deliver the care in one's home, and because if we look down the road, that's kind of the oldest baby boomer is not 80 yet, right? They're 78. So we got a couple, 3 or 4 more years before that first baby boomer wave starts to kind of put pressure on the care delivery system if they need it. And I think there's already pressure on it. So
I do too.
So anyway, we're excited about this. We got a great team there at Producers to work with, Producers Excel. So in the absence of any other questions, I'll let you close us out. Yeah.
Great. Tim, we are excited about this. There's some really good changes, and I love the fact that we're going to change the conversation, not about, oh, well, what product are you going to buy? It's really about how do you want your care delivered? It's not the person that's receiving care that has to worry about this. It's the family, the friends, the caregivers, and those that are supporting that person that needs care. So the flexibility in this contract is fantastic. Your illustrations, the way they generate out, actually do a wonderful job walking through care solutions and talking about the need and those types of things. So if you haven't seen the new illustration, give Kayla a call and email. We'd love to show this to you, let you take a look at this. We still don't have anything in the chat or the Q&A, so I'm going to thank everybody for your time today. Thank you for joining. This is recorded. We will send it back out if you wanted to re-listen to it. We'll also host it up on our website so that you can listen to it on demand as well. So Tim, thank you for your time. Thank you for your partnership, and all of you have a wonderful Friday.